Hello, this is Professor Severson, and I'm just going to go over a little synopsis, kind of a cheat sheet for you for APA formatting. Now, if you just look up APA, it's going to show you title pages, headers, specific reference page. That does not apply for this. We're not doing any research papers. The requirement is simply that you provide in-text citations and a complete reference, and that those two components need to be in APA format. So this will apply for your discussions as well as if this is a psychology class that you're viewing it for, it would also apply for your chapter questions, your critical thinking, and your personal application. If you are viewing this for your human development class, you would need to have it for your discussions and any written work that you submit. This is not to be exhaustive, meaning this is not the only reference to help you. The syllabus lays some out. I mentioned some more here. The school librarian, Lena Phelps, will be joining our class and will post some information and a link. So this is to just get you started and on the right track. It cannot possibly cover every instance of how you would specifically cite and reference. So I'm just going to go through this document, and this will also be posted on your news feed. So for this class, APA format is required for citations and references. As I mentioned, you don't need to use title pages, headings. You don't need a title for your paragraphs. This is strictly for citations and references. An in-text citation is required anytime you paraphrase, mention a book, a video, it could be an article, or include knowledge that would not be common. The citation is in parentheses and includes the author's last name and the date of publication. If you use a direct quote in addition to those two items, you must include the page or paragraph number, and in what you have cited, you need to have quotation marks. So the in-text citation, and I'll show you some examples towards the end, goes directly after the material. At the end of your post or question response, you must then include a complete reference. If you identify something as a reference, you have to have an in-text citation to go with it. You can't just list a source at the end. You have to show within your writing where you used that material. And when you provide the reference, you need to actually use the word reference, not works cited. It needs to say reference. So you are always free to use any online citation generators. Be sure to select APA. Note that many of them are actually called citation generators, but they're actually providing you with the full reference. The citation goes within the body of what you wrote. Generally, it's always the author's last name and date of publication. There are numerous resources available to help you. These include Lena Phelps, our librarian. As I mentioned, she'll be posting. You can also use the Tutoring and Learning Center, Smart Thinking, the OWL at Purdue, and there are some other examples in your Student Start Here module. I, as a graduate student, used a program called Perla. It's available, I think it was about $30, but it's like lifetime usage. It's great. It allows you, whether you're doing MLA or APA, to write your paper or your responses within their program, and then when you're ready to do your citations and your reference, you just answer the questions. You plug in the information that it asks for, and it will generate it for you. Again, you can Google to find one, but you need to be doing APA 7. This is just an example of a free citation tool online. It is not possible for me to show you examples of each type of material you would need to cite. Here is an example for the textbook for psychology, and an online version, the hard copy and the online version, as well as an example of how to cite a video. Providing a web address is not sufficient for a reference. And a little bit later, I do have the example for the human development book as well. So for the hard copy, this is the reference. and you can copy and paste this and stick it somewhere where you'll have it and use that under the word reference each time you use it. Your in-text citation will look a little different, and I'll give you an example. If you're using an online digital version of the book, it's going to say similar to this, but then you're going to put the web address after it. This just says introduction because this is the chapter that it was from. But you can simply, when you are online, go to your browser and copy and paste it, and you put that at the end of this, and that will be sufficient. For a video, these are the things that you need to put it in. Okay, the author's last name, first name, initial, when it was uploaded, the year, the month, and the day, the title of the video, and then you put in italics the word YouTube, you put retrieved from, and then you put the web address. Okay, so an example of what it would look like is this. For human development, I don't have the online version if you're using a digital version, but this is what it would look like. So this jumps right into an example. Let me go ahead and put that on here for you. So this is someone's discussion response. So it's talking about content and it's describing parenting types. Well, that is not something, these are pretty much definitions. That's not something you would generally know. So right after this paraphrased material is what's called the in-text citation, and it's right here. And you can see it has the author's last name, there are 2 of them, and the date of publication. And you will use whatever year your book says it was published. So then they finish the post, and then they say, you can, if you only have one reference, you would say reference, but references is fine, and then this is how it's done. Okay. So for this one, this is actually a little more correct to put the publication date there, but I will be pretty lenient as long as you have all the information. Here's another example, and this one is from the psych book, and here's a quote. So immediately after the quote, so you don't need to type out all of those authors' names when there's more than one, you put this et al. And then here's the date of publication. So if this was not a quote, that would be all you would need to put. But because it's a direct quote, this person put the page and the paragraph number. You do not need to put both. Just one is sufficient. So here they did it again because they took a quote, another quote. And here, if this was all the person wrote, I would have written comments to caution you. Using quotes is fine, but it is not sufficient. All that does is tell me you know how to find material. You need to also use your own words to show me that you understand what it means. And down here, the person did just that. They used their own words, his or her own words, and then the citation, and then here's the reference. Here's another example. This one has to do with a video. And so for the in-text, it says the author, the year, and this says how far into the video it went. And then at the end, oh, and also here's another one, direct quote. Here is how that material was cited. So hopefully you will find that helpful. It's frustrating when students don't initially make the effort to learn how to do it, because then you lose 2 to 4 points every assignment that has this, and that can add up. So again, Lena Phelps, the librarian, will be on our page next week, and you're free to utilize her through her link, as well as our Tutoring and Learning Center. You can schedule Zooms, and that's under the help key at the top of the page.